How do you take a mono sound that's got no stereo information and make it blend with all of your stereo information in your track, like your synths and everything else? I've got a track here where it's really busy. It's got loads of synths in the chorus kind of kicks in, and it's got this like drum layer that comes in, and in the drum layer there's a snare drum sample, and it just felt too small and mono. And that's one of the things I like to focus on when mixing and producing is like the stereo field. What sounds are surrounding me? What sounds are in the distance? What sounds are close up? Often drums would be down the middle, but then synths are really, really wide. And that can create a bit of too much separation in some cases. And that's the problem I had with this particular snare drum. And this quick technique using quick delays, left and right stereo delays, is a really good way. I'm going to show you how to make things stereo. So here's the track. Something I'm working on as a remix at the moment. The vocals muted, and then I'm just kind of layering loads of synths on there. And this drum loop is what the focus of this video is, particularly the snare sound. These come off an OP1, and I recorded the OP1 through an old analog mixer, cranked really high, so these sounds are really crusty, but they all came through in mono. The snare sound. And when you have that in contrast with all of these wide synths, it sounds nice, doesn't sound wrong. I would prefer it if that snare was more blended and a little bit more kind of part of the track rather than just separate in the kind of middle. So adding a stereo delay, and I'm using Ableton's stereo delay here, and then the following settings, which are really short. I've set the left and right, as you can see. One is at 21-ish milliseconds. The other one's roughly double that, 45. So you can now hear that it's got a bit of whip to it. Delay off. Straight down the middle with on. A bit more surround sound. And if I exaggerate that effect, so what it's doing is it's tricking my ears, it's tricking my brain to thinking that the sound is coming from around me by creating the sense of an echo. So just having a single repeat and then having it blended in, it gets that sound. So one of the delays is snapping here, 21.6 milliseconds on the left, and one on the right is double that. So it's kind of cascades. So that my brain thinks, oh, well, the sound is bouncing off that wall, then that wall, and hitting my ears, which means there must be some walls there, which means there's the space. And because all of my synths, as I said, are all so epic and wide, this snare now feels like it's living with those a little bit. And then, you know, bearing in mind that this is also about contrast, this previous section of this track, before those big synths come in, there are more drum sounds that are mono, because that's the transition I wanted to have. I wanted to have it sort of like the drums are like small in the middle, everything else is wide, and then these synths come in, boom, I wanted the drums to go wide as well. So it's really a simple, tiny little technique. And the other sounds, the kind of offbeat hi-hat, they're still mono, so it's within the drum track itself, you've actually got some contrast between mono and wide, and that's quite cool. And then if you listen to the entire drum mix, you can feel that snare and those kind of choppy hi-hats down the middle. Anyway, that's it. Using short delays to get stereo effect. Enjoy.